Hey, it's DROdio with FounderCulture, and I'm here with two awesome people. Ikechi is one of the founders in FounderCulture, and Jabu is an HR leader. By the way, we just did a video with Jabu, so if you haven't seen that one, totally worth watching. We talk about how Jabu can help you the way that she's helping Ikechi and has helped me and a bunch of other founders scale. But let's talk about Tribl. So tell us, what is this amazing thing you're building?
Yeah, no, for sure. Inspired by the story of Black Wall Street, we wanted to build a platform that helped the African diaspora build wealth within our own communities. And we're doing so through a platform experience that feels most similar to Discord meets Patreon, enabling Black influencers to message, meet, and monetize their tribe.
Okay, so let's actually let's talk about use cases, right?
Yeah.
So is it a mobile app? Is it a mobile experience?
Yeah, so it's a mobile app, and essentially, you can think about if you're running your own Discord or Slack community. What we found is that some communities that are using other group messaging platforms are looking for ways to monetize their community, whether through subscription or membership fees, or maybe by starting an investment club of sorts, and things like that.
So that's like the Patreon angle, is that people can support the communities that are being built on Tribl. And then I know there's a little crypto angle here, so I want to hear about that. That's
So we're ultimately the big piece that we're really excited about is when you look at the African diaspora and their global connectivity and cultural strength, it's a really powerful thing. And ultimately, we're trying to use those cultural rails to enable commerce back and forth across Black communities worldwide. And crypto presents an opportunity to not only make remittances and cross-border commerce more frictionless, but also faster and cheaper.
So I don't know a lot about crypto. I know basically the beginners like ETH and BTC and some of the altcoins. Are you creating an actual Tribl coin, or are you using ETH for smart contracts, or how exactly is it that you're using the crypto angle?
Great question. So ultimately, the core platform experience is really about building connectivity within our communities. And that connectivity is supposed to help us now power that dollar circulation within. There's that stat out there, the Black dollar only circulates for 6 hours before leaving. And so we built this really connected ecosystem where now every transaction will now power this wealth creation within our community. And to your point, ultimately want to build our own currency, Tribl coin, so that now we can actually have ownership of our own dollars.
Wow, there's so many powerful statements in what you just said.
Yes.
Each one of those could turn into a very, very, very deep thing.
Yeah.
So just to repeat back to what I'm hearing, it's really the opportunity to create these purpose-built communities that allow people to not only get together and connect, but also to monetize their communities in various ways, whether it's membership or whether it's money transfer or whatever those things are. You're creating the platform that's allowing people to do that, and you're using crypto as basically the borderless international way to do it, instead of using a fiat currency US dollars, because this is a global platform. You've said, hey, crypto is a good way to do this, and the eventual plan is to create a Tribl coin, which will there's so much you can unlock with the Tribl coin too. You must have a million ideas just for that.
Is
that all? Did I get all that?
And as I hear it back, I'm simplify it more, right?
I mean, that's our whole journey as founders, is storytellers, right? We're always figuring out how to be storytellers. So
No, definitely. So at its core, a part of building wealth in the community, we want to enable these groups to now begin money pooling, so that they can get into investment opportunities that they've typically been restricted from through money pooling use cases, right? So the Patreon angle is a little bit more individually focused, where it's I as an individual want to make money for myself. But through these subscription channels, again, you can open up an investment club of sorts where now you can money pool and invest collaboratively with your community in different assets.
So let's say that I want to buy a house to turn it into a rental, but I don't have the down payment for that house.
Exactly.
I could use Tribl through these community relationships that I've built, we could money pool, and Tribl basically handles the ability for me to come up with that down payment through the community. And then how I have so many questions for you. How much of the actual social contract that goes along with that? Let's say that I need that 20% down, and let's just say, for ease of math, it's $20,000.
Yeah.
And I get $1,000 from 20 people.
Yep.
How much is Tribl actually involved in the fact that there's 20 people that now own that house? Like, are you getting involved
Yeah.
in that at all?
No,
We're
not involved in that at all.
Right.
Not today.
So you're just a platform that's allowing them to do that. It's up to them to make sure that they figure that out together. But I would imagine you could create smart contracts, right, as a part of that.
Yeah, you're going somewhere.
Right.
You're going somewhere. We're going.
Yeah, that's cool.
But we aren't there yet, right? So like, especially today, we have to. We have a lot of barriers up just to allow you to activate your tribe wallet, your tribe as a community and tribal, right? So even to be able to do commerce, you have to go through a set of approvals from an admin. And that way we're able to now, decipher who we can best trust to actually set up their community and do some of these money pulling use cases. Because ultimately, when it comes to responsibility, it comes down to whoever actually is creating that.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so how is it that you ended up saying the world needs Tribl? Like, what's your story? How did you arrive here building this thing today?
It's a tribal story.
Yeah.
No, so long and short, I was raised by Nigerian immigrants in Houston, Little Lagos, as it could be called. A very intimate Nigerian community down there. I was kind of raised in that culture. Went to private school for most of my life, so very used to being the only black person in the room and understanding the feelings that come with that. Ended up going to Northwestern for my undergraduate and master's. I played football there. Tried to play professionally for a while, kept getting cut. And that kind of kicked me off into my actual professional journey, which started in wealth management, working at Merrill Lynch. And in about 2013, a good friend of mine shared the story of Black Wall Street with me. The tragedy that happened in Tulsa, but the really bright side of it all was like it was a clear example of how to build wealth within the black community. And they talked about how every dollar circulated within that community would stay for up to a year. Right? And for me, naturally, being raised by immigrants, being raised by Nigerians, I didn't just see the opportunity as like this hyper local thing, but like this global community that we could connect. And I felt like a connectivity point for that, being a first gen Nigerian here, where it's like, on one side, like I'm a black American, right? But like I have this high connection to Nigerian and these opportunities that are growing and blossoming in this emerging market that I understand about.
Yeah, you had that global lens.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so Jabu, you've been involved in Ikechi's journey.
Yeah.
So how is that, what is your role been? How's that been? Yeah.
Well, and we are also connected. My mother is from South Africa and is from the Zulu tribe. So I think that was a point of connection for us when we first met. We met at a Black Tech conference.
Yep.
And you were just blown away by my incredible intelligence.
As we all have been.
But no, it's been an honor to kind of partner with Ikechi in an advisory respect, early stages, but just giving him some ideas and experiences that I've had. He doesn't need a lot of help. He's super smart, as you can tell.
I definitely need a lot of help.
We all do. We all do.
I certainly do.
Trying to help you, man. And just like, how do you coach folks that are both maybe based in Africa and in the US, and like, how do you build that culture? How do you, talk to people? How do you talk to investors? How do you talk to potential investors? Ideas. I kind of stick my hand in everywhere. And Ikechi's remarkably astute at kind of pulling out what works for him and maybe tabling the rest until he knows he's going to scale. So I think it's been a really fun relationship. He's asked me for dating advice. Is that true?
Yeah, it's facts. I need it all. I can't balance. I don't do
service
good.
advice, not just professional life.
I will.
For sure.
I have opinions on everything. Happy to share.
She's prepared as my therapist.
Mine too.
Dating advice.
I've been there.
All the things.
I hear you.
It's at this stage, it's so intense. It's like right before, it's like you're running and you're trying to do all these things while you're running. And like, how do you have people like pointing out the cracks in the sidewalk for you? Like, so Ikechi is really smart about pulling together these resources and connection and articulating what he needs, and then just continuously like staying in touch. And especially for someone like me who's really busy, that enables me to help him much more easily. If that makes sense.
It's funny she says that, because I think I'm horrible at asking for help, or specifically what I should be asking for help.
Jabu's superpower is to know what we as founders need before we even know that we need it, and she has an amazing gift around being like, hey, you need to hear this right now.
Yeah.
So thank you.
it's a really intense journey, and it's very specific, and not everybody's been on it or had an opportunity to witness it, and it's almost a sacred space. Like it's really important to stay, like, you're gonna look back on this time and just like love it and adore it, and, like, even though it feels a little painful at times, but like this is the best time.
I try to remind myself of this.
It's so true. The first employee that we hired at Armory, so we started Armory in my garage, literally in my garage, and the first employee was in there with us. And I told him the same thing. I said, it'll never be as fun as it is in this moment.
Never.
And he actually just came to me the other day and he was like, you know what, DROdio, you were so right. There's something so magical and special about those early days when you're first figuring those things out. That because later you're scaling things, like you've figured a lot of things out, and it's just like scale. This like is a magical discovery period. These early days,
and it feeds that curiosity.
Exactly.
And then that just kind of dies off when it just comes with repetition.
It's not that it's just like, as a founder, like, we each get our energy from different places, right? And I don't know about you, like for me, making something impossible possible, I get so much energy from that. And you're always figuring out how to like unblock and how to scale. But this is like everything that we're doing at this stage is all about making impossible things possible. And it's such a special moment. Okay, so speaking of that, let's talk about where Tribl is. If like somebody's watching this and they say like, I definitely want to try this, what do they do? Like,
yeah, for sure. Like I said earlier, Tribl's still in beta right now. We've only let about 200 people in the app. We've built a waiting list. You can go to it at jointribl.com. Tribl spelled TRIBL. .com. And right now we're going to slowly start onboarding people from the waiting list starting in October.
Can anybody get the like Ikechi? Like I know Ikechi.
You can definitely get the plug. You can definitely get plugged in. Jabu's in the app right now. You can find Jabu on any social media platform. Or myself, you can find me at Buisi X, BUISI_X.
On Twitter?
Twitter, Instagram.
Everywhere. Okay, cool.
And I'll get you in.
All right, awesome.
Tell me that FounderCulture sent you.
There you go, perfect.
And I'll let you in.
That sounds good. All right, well, love what you're building. I noticed, I don't know if this is public, I'm gonna mention it, and then we can delete it if it's not, but I noticed in our FounderCulture Discord server you mentioned that you just did your first transaction, which I thought was amazing. Congrats on that.
No,
that's
thank
super
you.
Huge.
Thank you. I'm very glad that today's version of me celebrates small wins.
Yes, you have to.
Because the reality is that we've been wanting to do that for three years now. We've been like, we want to integrate a digital wallet and start processing payments through here. So having that first transaction go through, doing our first bit of revenue, even if it was like only available to 10 people,
it's okay.
It was amazing.
The difference between 0 and 1 is that's the thing to celebrate, because you add 0 up 100 times, you get 0. But you add 0.1 up some number of times and you get somewhere, right? And so that delta between nothing and something that's really the thing to celebrate. So congrats, man. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. So check Tribl out. It's going to change the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Sure.